Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 4 of my Detroit Pistons rebuild. If you remember last time we were here, we were losing a lot of games, but we did a little bit of coaching of our young player Saddiq Bey. So if I go into my strategies, just to recap the last thing we did, we discussed that I wanted to make Saddiq Bey more of a floor spacer, wanted to shoot more threes, and we noticed that he does a lot of drive and passing. Well, not a lot. 4% of his touches result in drive and pass. I want him to do more catch and shoot. So he's at 15% catch and shoot, 4% drive and pass. So we went into strategies, told him for the next month to work on just catch and shoot more. So by January 4th, we will see if that is successful or not. So I think what we're going to do is try to get to January 4th, see how things play out, and go from there. So now I also want to take a look at some of our offensive strategies. We are using post focus, and that has led us to a 5-19 record. So I think we're going to switch it up. We're going to go more balanced just to see if that gives us a little more dynamic offense instead of rather trying to force it into the paint. See, I mean, anything can help at this point. We're going to continue going straight man to man because I do believe we do have some decent defenders on the team. So again, we'll try to get to January 4th. Before we do that, in terms of key dates, I just want to keep an eye on what's happening. So it is December 7th. I do want to sim to the January 4th today to see how that works out for Saddiq Bey. The trade deadline will be February 8th. So I believe next episode we're really going to start hitting the trade market hard to see what we can come up with. We should definitely be sellers. So if we can get something for a guy like Jeremy Grant before the trade deadline, we will be pulling the trigger immediately. But for today, we're going to sim a few games, see how the balanced offense works for us. And then towards the end, I want to do a little bit of player comparison. It's a new function that the developer, Gary, put in right at the end of development, actually, right before release. And I do want to take a look at that and see how our young gun, Cade Cunningham, stacks up with some of the other rookies in the league. So I do want to get to January 4th, so let's go to sim to date. Okay, choose that date. I don't want to stop on action emails. Most of them aren't going to really require me to do much. We'll stop sim on an injury too. So we do have the Mavericks to start this. Of course, another loss. As you can see, some of the G League games are starting to pop up as well. So we might have to keep an eye on the two kids we sent down. I know we sent down young point guard Saban Lee, and I forget who the second guy is, probably because he's not worth remembering anyways. But maybe we do a deep dive on the G League to see if there's any players out there. Hit free agency, see if there's anybody worth picking up. See how they play with our current roster, and maybe they're worth keeping around moving into next season. Who knows? But as we're simming along, there are no injuries right now. Oh, and then, of course, as I speak, we get hit with an injury bug. Let's check some of these emails first. Trade rumors for Corey Joseph, Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson. Post-game injury report. The feisty Kelly Olynyk started yelling at Jeremy Grant. Oh boy. Yep. Well, I'd love to get rid of both of you guys. More Corey Joseph rumors. Luka Garza. Post-game. Again, Olynyk and Grant not doing so well together. So let's take a look at those two. I imagine under their player profile. Team relationship still pretty high for Olynyk at 94%, even though he's not getting along with Jeremy Grant. Yeah, and spirits are still pretty high despite being 6-25 and yelling at each other. There it is. So Cade is out for a whopping 1 day. Kind of annoying that we have to sub him out, so I will use the swap depth and minutes together. let Josh Jackson run. But I clearly don't want him playing any point guard minutes. So let's do that. And I guess I forgot Jackson was healthy. Kelly Olynyk is also healthy, but let's run one more day. Then we'll fix the depth chart to how we like it. Of course, another loss. Who would have thought? I mean, no Cade Cunningham. What else is going to happen? So let's go back to our depth chart. Get it back to where we want it. So I want Cade at the 1. I want Grant back at small forward. Olynyk at the 4. So I do want, excuse me, Josh Jackson coming off the bench first with Killian Hayes and Saddiq Bey right behind him. Let's hit suggest matrix just to see what we can get out of this. Lots and lots and lots of minutes going across the board. I do kind of want to see what Frank Jackson can do. I remember we looked at him earlier. Good ball handler, decent defender. He's got that sharpshooter. So I think, you know what? How is Diallo playing for us? Averaging 9 and 4. Shooting 40% from the floor. 28% from 3. You know what? We're going to get wild. I'm going to let Frank Jackson start and play some serious shooting guard minutes. And I don't want Bey playing small forward. I'd like to switch those two. So I'll get Saddiq Bey some minutes. You know, I'm really not going to prioritize guys like Corey Joseph, Trey Lyles. They're veterans. We're not really in the business of playing them. We're not looking to develop them. We're not looking to really win either. So Killian Hayes playing a few minutes at point guard. He probably does need a few more minutes because I don't want to run Cunningham into the ground so early in his career. Play Jeremy Grant at the power forward there. And what I really need to do is get a good lineup here and then store it so I don't have to play around with this all the time. This is one of the, you know, the least finer parts of the game is micromanaging all these minutes. Can get a bit tedious at times. So we'll get Garza a few. Oh, that's not Garza, so. Alright. Jeremy Grant at 40 minutes. I don't want to see that. So everyone's back healthy. Let's try to get to that January 4th date to see how the Saddiq Bey instructions went. Hopefully they took. Hopefully he listens to our coaching. And we'll go from there. So Saban Lee suffers an injury, but he's on the D League. I don't know why. It's probably because I might have it checked off to manage the D League. So actually what I'm going to do is store this lineup. Thank you. Let's see, team options. quite sure why we stopped. That's weird. Let's see if I can just sim through this. Alright. Oh, Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. Let's try to get through this. Alright, we take down the Spurs. Do we make it? No. What's going on? Trade rumor. Diallo's on the trade block. Admit it. Great. Oh, I think I have to tick off those boxes. That's right. Let's try again. We just want to lose. This game is slowing down. Oh my gosh, 67 points against the Jazz. That's pretty embarrassing. Luka Garza with 17 boards, which means absolutely nothing, obviously. I mean, these losses, not only are we losing, but we're really not all that competitive. Again, 89 against the Warriors, 78 against the Lakers. So we're struggling to crack the 90-point threshold at times. It's scary. All right, so it looks like we made it. Let's take a look at Saddiq Bey. Go back to our parent team. Where are you at? So, did it take? Yes, it did. So he no longer is driving to pass. It went down 4%. Our catch and shoot went up 4%. So hopefully that helps to stretch the floor a little bit. I do want to check in on Frank Jackson, see how he's playing. He's averaging 3.9 points per game. Nothing too overwhelming. But he is shooting 43% from the floor, 37% from the field, from three, which is better than Diallo was shooting. Let me take a quick look at his stats. And I'm big on these miscellaneous stats, so I want to see what the defensive numbers look like. 65% stop rate. Oh gosh, he's given up 1.37 points for every shot he faces. That's pretty bad. He does have a better stop rate than Diallo did, and he's struggling against the shooters. And he is short, right? So yeah, 6'3" is a little short to be playing the wing. But we're gonna. He's got a small sample size so far for Frank Jackson. He's played all of 8 games or so. We started in 3 games. Yeah, nothing crazy. Diallo and Frank Jackson. Well, what do you know? Probably pissed that he took his starting spot. Rookie of the month, Cade Cunningham. Love to hear it. Yeah, Corey Joseph definitely is on the block. So that's 2 months in a row. Our boy Cade has taken home Rookie of the Month, but it's not really leading to any wins. As you can see, we are dead last in the East by a clear 6.5 games. In terms of the entire league, we are again dead last by 1.5 games behind the Thunder. So what I did want to see is we just won Player of the Month for the second month in a row for Cade Cunningham. And I do want to check out this player comparison tool. So I'm going to go over to the Pistons, find Cade Cunningham. And this is brand new with this engine and this new version of the game. And one of the newest patches that they have out. So if you haven't updated yet, check it out. So I do want to see what our franchise cornerstone looks like compared to other players he was drafted around. So second pick of the draft this year was Evan Mobley, obviously to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Clearly they play 2 different positions. I have a point guard, Mobley being a center, but they are 2 very dynamic players. We know that Cade is playing everywhere but center for us, and Mobley, well, in real life, could play, down to a small forward if he really wanted to. But it looks like in this engine and in this game, he is more power forward center. So it shows you their ratings across the board, and it phases out, grays out the ones that they are not as good at as the player they're being compared to. So as you can see, Cade scoring more, assisting more, uh, and has more steals per game, whereas Evan Mobley has a better rebound percentage or average and averages more blocks per game, which is to be expected. And I just like to dive into the ratings a little bit and just see how they compare. Um, but it makes it tough because they do play two different positions. So if we look at who the third pick in the draft was, and that was the Houston Rockets taking Jalen Green, I think it's clear, at least in this save, that Cade is the far superior player to Jalen Green. Um, Shooting ratings across the board better for Cade, or at least tied. Um, but a better passer, ball handler, rebounder, will draw more contact, way more intelligent on the basketball court, which is huge, especially if you're going to be a ball handler. You need that court IQ, which goes a long, long way. Um, Another player that I really, really like is Josh Giddey on the Thunder. Just want to check out how that compares. You know, Giddey's a better passer and ball handler. That's his calling card. He's a phenomenal passer. Shot blocking, very interesting to see that Giddey is rated that highly. But this defensive ability is so low. We really, really need Cade to step it up on that side of the floor if he's going to be a tone setter for us. Let's see. Who else? Young player. Orlando Magic took Jalen Suggs. I haven't seen much of Suggs yet. To be expected, Suggs was the 5th pick. He's kind of a combo guard. That outside shooting is pretty nice though. Again, defensive ability is so low. And then we'll take a look at one more rookie. Toronto Raptors took Scotty Barnes, big man with some versatility. And Cade is just outperforming it, but Cade is also like our entire team right now. We're playing around him where Scotty Barnes is filling in around some solid veterans. So the averages I'm really not going to give too much credit to, but looking at the ratings, it is interesting to see Scotty Barnes 8 for an outside shooting. Strong rebounder, draws fouls, a better defender, marginally. But, I mean, of the rookies, I think Cade compares pretty closely to Scotty Barnes, so they could be two players that go back and forth against each other throughout their entire careers. But I also think Evan Mobley has shown that he's going to be a force as a rookie and one of the top rookies in this entire class. So we are now at January 4th that we were looking for. We're dead last in the NBA, probably the spot that we want to be. So hopefully next episode we come back, we start to hit the trade block, see if we can make a few moves and prepare ourselves for the future. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.